Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am Knucklerar.
I am Wozard. In this video, we are going to focus on the best way to improve your Phobies gameplay.
Yeah, and we believe the answer lies in this distinction between two concepts, tactics and strategy. But before we really get into the meat of that discussion, I'd like to start with a little warm-up puzzle. So this video is going to feature lots of these puzzles. They're very similar to the challenges that you might see in the Phobies game. For all of them, you can assume that the Phobies will be level 1, and it's going to start easy and get a lot harder. So I will hover over the Phobies in case you need the damage or HP values, and your goal for this puzzle is to kill Pterodactyl. So I'll give you a few seconds to pause, try and find the solution before we reveal it. So, Wozard, can you take us through this solution?
Yeah, so you may notice that our Phobies have a total damage of 1650 here. And with Booster, we can get up to 1950 then. However, this means we can easily kill Pterodactyl, but we are really going to struggle to step on Pterodactyl's bones. So the solution and trick to this problem is getting Pterodactyl on a spot where you do not have to step on his bones, aka over the block. So by using Razor Mount to body block for the Pterodactyl before you pull it, it will move Pterodactyl to the correct spot where all your Phobies can hit it and you don't have to use an action to step on it.
That's exactly right. One thing I will note, so this kills Pterodactyl, but the Muffet will pull Pterodactyl in the other direction if you don't body block with Razor Mouth. So that was an example of a tactic, which generally involves phobie positioning and combat tricks. Now we have an example of strategy. So here we'll invite you, the viewer, on this newer map, Phobopolis 2, how would you open and what would your general strategy be for how you are going to play this map? So I'll give you a few seconds to pause and think about it. Before turning it over to Wozard, take us through how you might play this map.
My strategy on this map is I really like to contest these top 2 panic points up here with like a Henrietta or a creep running vertically towards those panic points. And then I like to send out my own flyer like a Murderwing or Tooth Fairy onto this point here before I try to contest the further panic points from my my vault on the horizontal direction. Then the following turn, I normally like a Cassowary here, for instance, to try to contest that middle panic point and make sure my opponent doesn't get a free capture. And then after that, I fully adjust and play on the fly to see what they do.
So maybe you continue in the southeast, or maybe, you might need more reinforcements in the north, or depending on what the opponent plays.
Yeah, you have to constantly adjust, obviously. This was an example of strategy. We talked about our phobie choice, how to play a map, and our general win conditions. The first puzzle we showed was an example of tactics, which is all about optimizing the positions and actions of your Phobies to get kills and avoid being killed.
Yeah, so I really believe personally that a lot of people, maybe even most people in the Phobies community, are focusing on strategy and high-level strategic concepts as ways to improve instead of their tactics. And I say that because you can't really use strategy if your tactics aren't up to snuff. I could be the best strategic player in the world, play the exact right Phobies, attack the exact right spaces, but if I'm down by enough keys, 4, 5, 6 keys, it's not going to be enough. What focusing on tactics looks like in practice is twofold. So number one, on your turn, you should be constantly scanning for these little tactical opportunities to kill a phobie, to take a panic point for free, to body block somewhere, to make a positive key trade. But more importantly is looking at what your opponent can do immediately following your turn. Can they kill a phobie? Can they capture a panic point? Can they get at your heart? Can they kill your heart? You need to be seeing those things that your opponent can do so that you can make sure you play your turn in a way that they can't do those. The second thing you can do if you really want to boost your progress is analyze the games that you lost. It's to go in and look at, I lost this game, why? Find the negative key trades that happened. Find the Phobies that you lost. Find the place where you used a 2 key or a 3 key unnecessarily to capture a panic point when a 1 key could have done. If you do both of those things, you will get a lot better. The beauty too of focusing on tactics is that you will also get better at strategy. That's because strategy has this correlation where the better strategically you play, the more tactics are available and the fewer are available for your opponent. So if you start to find yourself in some situations where it's very hard to find a tactic or your opponent has tons of tactics, you'll start to pick up on why. Maybe that means the phobies you're playing are not great into the phobies your opponent's playing. Or maybe that means the way you're playing the map does not leave you with very many options or very many good options, and your opponent has tons of options. So with that in mind, we have created several puzzles that get increasingly harder to test your tactics. And I will send it to Wozard to explain the first puzzle.
All right, 4, puzzle number 2. Finnegan is able to push every single phobie here into an abyss this turn. With 5 keys to work with, how do you think you would go about doing this? Feel free to pause the video and take some time to look through. Not all of these are immediately obvious, so take a look. We'll give you a couple seconds and then I'll pass back to Nuclear to show some solutions.
Yeah, so let's start with the Contortio. This one is the simplest. It's just Finnegan runs up. It's a straight line to the abyss. We get the Contortio that way. The next one is this Cowbell. And this combat trick is something that is extremely useful that you'll find you use all the time, where you can summon a 3-move phobie. I really like Droney for this, but Snowball works as well. Droney can go and block the place where Finnegan is going to push. Finnegan gets this push. Boom. There's our next kill.
I'd also like to really add here that any 3-move flyer can also, a 3-move flyer or like a Snowball can be used to step on Bones at 6 range 2 from Vault. And which is really crucial to remember.
Yep, that's a really good point. The Muffet has several ways we can do this. The easiest is just block the place where the Muffet would go, and we get that push, right? But I do want to call out specifically Gravedigger is often great for these, where you get sort of a surprise Gravedigger break that opens up this block, then Finnegan can reposition before getting that push. And finally, Flyers are great because you can frequently block 2 spots. So in this case, we can run maybe a Maggie and a Droney. So that didn't even use all 5 keys, but we get to block both squares where the Razormouth would go, and Finnegan dunks into the abyss. So for this next puzzle, we're starting to get progressively harder. The goal here is to kill all of the opponent's phobies. So again, we can assume everything is level 1. You can look them up in your album or online, but in case you don't know or don't want to look, I'm going to go through all of the HP and damage values here. Goon has a line attack, Gonzo has a buff available, and Hematic has its AoE attack available.
Alright, so the solution for this problem is we are going to start with Hematic, and it's going to start with an AoE. The AoE is used to make sure that we can kill this Tickles with 2 hits from our Tooth Fairy. We need to do this because we must buff Goon here in order for Goon's line attack to be set up for a kill on the Innocuous.
Nice.
Nice. And then we'll move on to puzzle number...
What are we at this point? 4?
4. This is puzzle number 4. We're showing the HPs once again. The goal of this puzzle is to kill Innocuous.
So take a few seconds to pause and think about it before we reveal the solution now. So the key idea here is that Kivo does 350 damage and the Stim does the extra 300, so we only do 650. So if we step up and try and hit that Innocuous, it doesn't quite kill. So you have to use Shovel. And the way we do that is by breaking this block, bringing the shovel up, and pushing that. And then we get 2 hits on the Innocuous. One thing I want to call out here is this is the beginnings of a tactic, But then it's also really important to consider, well, does my Hevo die? Because it looks like it might. And you can actually do this out. You can say Cowbell would get 2 shots for 550 damage, Casper would get another shot for 425, and Bo Mangles does an additional 420. But it doesn't quite hit this 1550. And so if you go further and you look at where everything would land, Hevo would do very well on this stim to do a lot of damage. So in this next puzzle, we start to get a little bit more complex, a little bit more game realistic. This one, we're not going to tell you exactly what to do. It's play the best move. So every phobie here is at full HP. I'm going to show their HP and attack values. The Heartbreaker is up, and the Gravedigger abilities are up. The half is at full HP, etc., etc. So take a few seconds to try and figure out what the best possible move is here. And you're not allowed to summon any keys. I know there's 22 and 19 available. Well, let's just assume both players have 0 keys.
Now that you've had a couple seconds to think, we'll go through the solution. This is a very particular problem where everything needs to be done in a certain way, and we'll end up with a Gravedigger kill. So by placing the Gravedigger block here, you can deny the Heartbreaker its ability from vision, and additionally it gives you another Noxious target for your Noxious ability, doing 300 of the Gravedigger. And then Hevo must position here to hit the Gravedigger, and Murderwing is able to finish off the kill on the wall.
This is great for 2 reasons. Number 1, we've killed their Gravedigger, so they can't terraform the wall back to use the Heartbreaker. And number 2, we don't touch the half, so we don't activate its extra angry damage. So now it only does 100 damage instead of 600. So this next puzzle gets even trickier. This one was drawn directly from a game I played on a different map, but we redesigned it on this map. In this puzzle, let's assume that the opponent does have 5 keys to spend to trade back, and there's already been some combat going around. So you'll notice the Puff here is chipped to 625, the Tick has been damaged, but all of the other abilities are up. I'm going through all of the phobies to show their HPs and damages again. And I'll give you guys a couple seconds to try and find the solution. So, because I played this game, I'm gonna show what I did. The key here is that your order really matters. We don't want to put Puff here because it will die to this Gesundheit and a snowball from spawn. So, we first bring the Minotaur, and we hit both of those phobies. That softens up this Muffet to 875, which is killable with this creep. But first we have to move the Puff away from the creep spot, so we get this line, killing the jar with the fire. That also softens up Lenny, so that we can do the additional booster damage, where the Lenny too dies to the fire. And finally, we get our creep to do the last bit of damage we need to kill this Muffet.
Welcome to puzzle number 7. This is our hardest puzzle of this set and the last one for this video. We'll give you a couple seconds to look through all the phobies' HPs and damages as Nuclear cooks through. Your goal here is to kill the Hematic Ginsting.
So the key right here is that Ginsting is full HP at 1800, and everything else, the Ginsting is chipped a little bit.
Good luck.
So the key thing to recognize in this puzzle particularly is that this snowball dimensional effect is really annoying. So if any one of these phobies kills the snowball, they will slide into the spot and prevent, for example, Tickles or Droney from actually getting that damage in. So the way that I found to solve this one is we want the Hematic to be the one actually final killing that snowball. So here is the way at least that I found to do it. If you find another solution, please let us know in the comments. So first, we're going to do AoE damage to this snowball, also doing AoE damage to the Hematic. Then we bring our Droney over and hit the snowball, softening it up further. It's important that Droney goes here, by the way, and not here, because we're going to use that Henrietta to get that Hematic Instinct. Then when we do AoE damage to the Hematic Instinct, we finally kill that snowball. So we can use our Hematic to get our 1 under tap. Henrietta gets its tap. Normal Ginsting gets its tap. And look, now we're below 200 HP, where our Tickles can go in and get the final hit. So a super complicated one, but I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you for staying for this whole video. I hope you enjoyed it. We are hopefully going to make more videos of this same type and would like to maybe make some shorts of it as well. So if you find any tactics that are similar to things in this game, please let us know. Feel free to ping us on Discord or let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys and know what type of content you'd like from us in the future.
Yeah, and the other thing explicitly I want to call out, we're looking for more mentor game analyses. So if you have an interesting loss that you'd like to see covered and you'd like to learn from, let us know either in a comment down below or in the Discord. We're quite active, especially on the Discord. So if you're interested, hit us up. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.